And the quality of information you have is what determines the quality of questions you ask. And imagine how much smarter your kids would be if they're exposed to useful information early enough. Imagine how impressive your kid would be if what you feed them as content is a diluted version of useful information, history, health, and all that stuff, you know, financial literacy, just kind of things, but a baby version. If that's what you feed them, when they want to ask you questions, the characters they use and the concepts they ask you questions around at certain age, at age 3 or age 4 or age 5, eh? When a visitor witnesses that, they won't be able to believe it. If you make it a habit in your household, by the time this is even solidified, you would have forgotten, you wouldn't even recognize that what you are doing is insanely futuristic.
Hey guys, I know you're enjoying this episode. So if you're not following, check the app you're listening on and make sure to follow. Okay, bye.
There has to be a better way for younger people to learn how to negotiate sexual contracts. Nobody teaches nobody teaches how important it is. Nobody teaches people who are coming up and hitting puberty and getting to know their body really about negotiating social, not even social, what am I saying? About negotiating sexual contracts. Like understanding when you and somebody have an agreement that you are going to have sex and knowing fully well that this is consensual, and even knowing what consent is. Everybody knows the concept of consent at a very early age. Is the other participant willing? But now it is a spectrum, because when you add a lot of the dynamics that go into it, both of my men and women are familiar with the fact that it's not every sexual encounter that starts off like porn, where everybody's down for it. There's always some kind of shakara, sometimes from the girl, sometimes from the guy. And it's almost like this ping pong play that has to happen, this dance that has to happen before the activity. But even within that, there are now certain gray areas where things like coercion comes in. Coercion is essentially pressing somebody for sex for so long, and in such an aggressive manner that you tire them out without necessarily forcing your way into them, but you tire them out and give them no choice than to give in to get an escape, because you were not going to give up either way. And that is a form of rape. Growing up with my male experience, that is not a concept that I have been exposed to ever in my life before. I didn't care to know if something like that even existed. If I put myself back in my adolescent body, I would just consider myself fortunate that I did not commit coercion. Not necessarily that I could tell the difference or I knew there was a line, because of the newness of the hormones and the raw nature of my youth, and then the immaturity of my mind. I wouldn't have been able to tell where the line was, even if this dance has to go on a little bit. Where do you now, in your mind, you know that, okay, the meter will be reading red. You're messing up now if you're like trying to physically force somebody that is telling you no. But then you see the waters get murky in that gray area where you can actually commit coercion. Okay, and so you see, that's the thing. If nobody teaches us to get clarity around subjects like that at a young age, it is very dangerous, because now you see people who sexually live in that gray area, and that is where they lie. That is their thing. You understand? So people develop properly sexually, but if it's well thought and everybody knows that this kind of thing is this exists. This, the opposite sex, this is their perspective on this thing. You know, guys, this is how women feel when you go this way, this way, this way. This is not good. Ladies, this is how guys feel when you talk like this or do like this, and you know, this is not good. And everybody understands how to approach it with respect. From a very young age, you're teaching virgins this. You're teaching people who are just sexually curious this. Because they deserve to learn it. I don't even know what we are doing this world. They would like to be hiding things. They deserve to learn it. I was thinking yesterday of an idea. Why can't I dilute history, knowledge on science, and certain things, dilute it in such a way that it will be attractive to a 2-year-old? Like, instead of them learning blah 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 shit and nursery fucking rhymes, why are we not simplifying complex things at their age, so that by the time they grow a little bit, you can feed them the real stuff? They should know history. They should understand philosophy and certain things. Like, I mean, if they can comprehend nursery rhymes and some of this useless cocomelon bullshit, they should be able to. If they can hold a story in their head, anyone, whether it's about the tortoise doing some fucked up shit, if they can hold a story in their head, they should be able to hold history in their head. If they can build Legos, they should be able to understand certain complexities of science, but at a very diluted level, so that as they grow older, things that they should have learned in SS3, they can learn it in GS1, because the base has been built already. They understand how this thing works, and it is not superficial something. The things you're teaching them are things that will be essential for them to navigate the real world. Imagine a child that understands history, what that would do to their pattern recognition skills, what that would do to their range of thinking, their range of planning. They begin to look at life and time the way adults do. That enables them to have deeper thoughts and make more informed decisions. And that is just an argument for teaching them some of these sexually related topics early. And there's a reason why this thing might not work. And that is simply because of the perverts we have. Yes, because everybody is not normal. So at the end of the day, even as it is now, where we are not even teaching sexually related things in schools or to younger children, the people who are the custodians of those younger children, like in the cases of altar boys and priests, for example, or Boy Scouts and the Scout Masters, or what would you call them? Those are places where abuse happens, abuse, at least within the male community. I don't know about where women abuse women sexually or pedophilia happens. So you see this type of things now. The people that are supposed to teach them this thing, if some of them are messed up, it will be an opportunity for them to commit some dirty atrocities. So it is why we'll be hesitant. But not because it is morally wrong to teach it. Not because it doesn't have any advantage. I believe that it is actually the way to go. And so if you can navigate it yourself, do it for your own kids. If these kinds of things were taught early enough, and then you mix it with some of the information, some of the lessons on history, if moral lessons like this are prioritized in homes and schools, because in homes is where it gets messed up. In schools, they do their best to make sure that you're morally upright, because they get paid to do that. It is not the homes that mess people up. That is why nobody has any business having children if they not figure themselves out. If you see the kind of person that can lie over some petty shit, if you see the kind of person that you need to be able to have a handle on yourself for real, and have some confidence in the quality of your person, such that you know that your genes feel like gold. As a lady, the quality of your personality, you look at yourself and your egg, you consider it to be diamond. Me, my semen to fertilize somebody, the genes I'm passing on, I consider I worked hard for. That should be the level you get to before you start to reproduce. Honestly. Because all the efforts we can make that I'm suggesting here now will be thwarted, as it has always been, thwarted by the quality of parenting that is going with the children that you are raising. And the quality of information you have is what determines the quality of questions you ask. And imagine how much smarter your kids would be if they are exposed to useful information early enough. The quality of their questions improve at a very early age. This is now separately for you as a parent, as a new parent. I would make it a point of duty to send this episode to all my friends that have children or just got married. Imagine how impressive your kid would be if you give them, if what you feed them as content is a diluted version of useful information. History, health, and all that stuff. Financial literacy, just kind of things, but a baby version. If that's what you feed them, when they want to ask you questions, the characters they use and the concepts they ask you questions around at certain age, at age 3 or age 4 or age 5, when a visitor witnesses that, they won't be able to believe it. If you make it a habit in your household, by the time this is even solidified, you would have forgotten, you wouldn't even recognize that what you are doing is insanely futuristic. Is when you experience your child in interaction with children that were raised the standard way, that you realize what you've done and the machine that you are raising. You see how you see how some of our mates, it seems like their parents set them up like cheat code of future. I see their parents knew what was going to happen in the future and all that stuff. I can't wait to do that, but even if I feel like I'm a level where I feel like my genes or my semen is liquid gold, I'm still not going to have a kid just yet, just based on life plan and calendar. But these ideas work. I'm going to conclude this thing with telling you why some of the things that I say, I'm so sure about them and what my framework is for collecting this information. I'm always on certain channels like Big Think. Find Big Think on YouTube and Andrew Huberman Lab, and certain science-related, study-related lectures I watch from Harvard and some of these other schools. All of this on YouTube. I'm drawn to those things because they give me facts on human nature, human behavior, laws of nature, patterns, and things like that. And so if I watch a few videos on a particular topic, and this is what studies and the research says on something like this, and I watch a bunch of things around different topics altogether, I think it aggregates in my mind on what the truth about certain hidden concepts are. What certain things that are not really spoken about as concrete facts are. I already have them because I've consumed certain knowledge and pieced a few patterns together. And so because of that, I believe running at the back of my brain is this system that really filters my words based on truths that I've gathered. And that is why when I speak on this podcast and I make suggestions, especially the ones that I seem very sure of, I'm confident of them and I stand by them. Not the opinionated talk. Lately, talking about opinion, I've had discussions to try and understand the views of the woman, especially in feminine fights, because feminist arguments. And lately I've listened to somebody really who was passionate about it, really break it down for me in certain ways. And I think that encouraged me to be more understanding. Honestly, I pride myself on trying to be good to all humans. And then sometimes it seems like when there's a gender divide, we make too much segregation. We make too much of a distinction. But at the end of the day, everybody is human being. Anyway, this is what I like when in this podcast. I can just say whatever I want and be goofy. I'll see you guys next week.